Welcome back. Hope you guys are having a good one. Just made a 1-hour run north of where I'm currently living, and look what we broke out today. The old banana boat. We're gonna be doing some kayaking today. We're gonna make a little voyage. As you can see, there's really no easy access, so we're gonna be doing a little hiking over to the lake that we're gonna be fishing today in hopes to catch some beautiful largemouth. I already know that this place is gonna be swamped up just about as bad as can possibly be, so probably gonna be throwing some slow sinking stuff, some topwater frogs, but you just never know. Maybe a swim bait or two, or we'll see. But for now, let's get the boat down and get over there so we can start ripping some lips. All right, got the boat, we're just dragging it in. It's a little too heavy to carry just by one person. It's easier to have two people when you can carry both sides. But we're rolling in now. Should be there in about 2 or 3 minutes. It's not too bad of a hike. You can tell there's a little bit of a path. It's just not the greatest path ever. So hopefully we catch some fish today. Fingers crossed. Stay tuned, guys. I think it's gonna be a fun one. All right, there's a little bit of a hike in here. I don't know why they don't mow this. This thing used to be lined with trees. It looked absolutely beautiful, and then just on the inside of the trees they would mow all this really nice, but they mowed all the trees down, but now they don't mow the grass. A little disappointing, but at least you can still fish it, I suppose. Getting rigged up a little bit now, getting the paddle set up. We'll be out on the water in just a couple minutes. All right, guys, welcome back to the lake. We are out here now, a little out of breath. The water's super low and it really sucks to push off that ground there. I'm gonna start with a frog, hopefully get some topwater action. I've heard a few blow up so far. I'm not sure if they're bluegill or bass though. As you can see when I pan around, this place is loaded with nasty, disgusting weeds. So I don't know, probably won't be able to throw much else besides the frog, but we're gonna start with that and see what happens. Wish me luck, guys, and hopefully we can tear some fish out. I just put my hand in the water and it's definitely probably, that doesn't even make any sense. I would say it's probably in the high 70s. It's pretty warm water. There we go. Third cast. Wow. Is he still on though is the question. I picked up a lot of weeds in the middle of that. Oh yeah, he's still there. Looky there. Heck yeah. Third cast. Oh, that is just lovely. Pretty good sized bass for first fish here. Beautiful little ditch pickle there. First one kind of came right on the edge of that dark green slime there in the thick, nasty moss. It's kind of a sandbar here, so we'll take that. One down. That is incredible. And like I said, third cast or so, maybe fourth, I don't know, but it was very, very quick. And for those wondering, I'm using this little live target frog. I'm not sure if you can see it on either camera, not very well. Just like a natural frog, white belly. It's definitely been used and abused. I've caught a ton of fish on this. It's one of the more expensive frogs out there on the market, but I highly recommend it. It's totally worth it. We've had a little bit of a cold front come in. It was probably 2 or 3 days ago now. So the fish have had a little bit of time to adjust, but we were like 90 degrees with high humidity, like 50 to 80% humidity. And now we're like upper 70s, low 80s with way less humidity. Very, very mild winds today. You might get a little bit of a gust every so often, but for the most part, the weather was calling like 2 to 4 miles an hour. And as you can see, it's, I want to say glass, but it doesn't look like glass with all this cheese on top of it, but pretty good conditions today so far. I'm gonna keep throwing that frog around and head out to sandbar now. You can kind of see just around some of this clear open water on the backside. It's really thick there. Where it gets thick, that's a sandbar. So we're gonna work just on the outside of that sandbar now. I just seen my first pop up off this sandbar here, so I'm gonna throw right to it. Hopefully something will take this frog. There he is. Yep. First cast off the sandbar. That's exactly where I seen that pop up. I was about 2 or 3 feet to the right of where he popped up at. And wow. I'm gonna guess that camera is absolutely soaked right now. But we got our first fish off that sandbar, which is pretty dang cool. Mutilated the frog pretty good there. That's a boy, Ethan. Number 2 on the old frog. I love live target frogs. They work incredible. And this just proves it. There we go. I mean, are you kidding me? What's crazy right now is I'm 3 for 3 on frogs. That's nuts. Typically frog bites, I mean, you're lucky if you're going 1 for 3. I don't know what the deal is right now. I'm assuming that every one of these fish is starving and they're not going to let the chance of a good meal go by. Not only are these frogs hitting top water, but they're hitting it hard, sucking it down. It's not that big of a fish. I mean, it's a 1.5 pounder, 14-inch bass, but dang, I am thrilled to be catching some largies right now. I gotta get back in there. Fishing from a kayak can be tough because it's hard to see into the water, but I would definitely be willing to say that these fish are either on beds or, you know, darn near it, I suppose. They're definitely shallow, which is pretty cool. I enjoy fishing, sight fishing. It just kind of stinks that not being able to see out of a kayak, and then the weeds make it even more tougher. Ah, that right there is exactly what I was saying last time I caught a fish. I guess I got too confident. When you're fishing through some of this thick weedy mat stuff, it's even tougher. Just the hookup ratio is even worse than normal. These fish just cannot get through that mat very well. So sometimes what I do when I'm fishing this frog is I just swim it straight through that cheese as fast as I can, get to a little bit of open water, and work it from there. They just can't get through it unless it's a huge 6-7 pounder. For those of you that are interested, I like to throw frogs on either a medium heavy or a heavy setup, something that's, you know, got some decent backbone to it. Ah, just missed one there. This happens to be a Black Max Abu Garcia, and it's got 30-pound Power Pro on it, which isn't the strongest, but it's kind of a nice go-to rod for a kayak. I'm looking more for, you know, just a little bit of everything, and a nice medium heavy rod is exactly what I need for a kayak. That way, if I need to throw something dainty or, you know, a little more finesse like a Senko, I can do that. It's not as comfortable, but if I need to throw a little bit heavier bait, I can do that as well here. 30-pound Power Pro and a nice 7-foot medium heavy rod. It's all you need for a kayak. You can do everything with it. There we go. Another important thing when you're doing this bass fishing with the frog, you've got to have that little bit of a pause there. I'm not sure if you can tell it if you're new or not, but it's really important to just have a split-second pause. Let that frog eat, pause, slam it. That way that frog has got time to be sucked all the way down and get in the roof of his mouth just like so. And that'll definitely help you with your hookup ratio. Another one. Missed a couple now, but we're doing all right. There he goes. Awesome. This frog's taking a beating today. I think we've had 6 or 7 hits now. Caught like 4 or 5. I think it's 4. Unfortunately, I waited just a little too long on that one. I'm not sure if he had it all the way. You always want to make sure your frog doesn't have a bunch of water in it too after you get a big blow up like that. It just makes the frog sink. You really want that frog to be on the surface as best you can too. Makes it look a little more lifelike. There we go. I heard a nice blow up behind me and started to turn my head. Sure enough, we had one in front of us too. You dude, you're getting me wet. Okay, I'm getting myself wet now. Look at that. That is so cool. I love frog fishing. And you can't frog fish everywhere, really. Sometimes it's tough, sometimes they don't want to cooperate, but this place, with all these nasty weeds in here, the frogs work, and they work like extremely well. So we're gonna throw him back. I highly recommend trying frogs just about everywhere you go. I've just found that sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, and it could be the weather, but typically it's just like the location, it seems like, in my honest opinion. That's not true for every case, but it seems like either they work in that spot or they don't. That was wicked cool. That fish jumped all the way out of the water on it, right in that open spot of water there. I wish that fish would have taken it. That was pretty neat to see a bass get so fired up he jumps completely out of the water on it. You know you're throwing the right bait. That is cool. I just put it right back in that hole. I should have, oh, there he is. I should have thrown it just a little bit over. We'll try one more time. I don't think he's gonna take it a third time, because that one, I definitely felt him. And usually if you sting a bass, and what I mean is just stick a hook in him a little bit, sometimes they just scurry off. They don't stay around. Yeah, no hit there. Oh my gosh. These fish are nuts. Look at that hole in front of me. They're just slamming that bait. I might just need to slow it down just a little bit. I'm working it pretty aggressive, hoping that the more aggressive it is, the more they're gonna hear and see, just because the mat of weeds is so ridiculous in here. I don't want to waste too much time if they're not seeing it. Caught a decent amount off this sandbar right here. I think I'm going to try to work over towards the edge a little bit. See if they've moved up shallow on the edges as well, and not just in the middle. The middle is pretty shallow, but it's a different kind of shallow than the edges, where like the edges work up to completely zero. This is surrounded by water still, and a lot of fish like it, even in the winter time, some. Dang. Oh, he is on there. He went back for round two. Completely missed the first time. I don't know if that's the same fish or not, but there's definitely one on there now. Little skinny guy. Kind of long for this little fish though. But okay. All right, dude. We got us another one. Kind of off the shore there. Good. I would say 15 on this one. A little bit longer than the normal 14s, but he's not weighing that much. I do fish this place quite often, and it is very popular and very common to catch that typical 14-inch size. There's other fish in here that get up to like 5-6 pounds, but you're usually going to be in that 14 to 15-inch range, maybe 13-inch every now and then. It just seems like there's that textbook size, and I think it's because there's so many in here that the bass are kind of stunted. They can't get over that size. When you go to set the hook on a frogfish, you really want to set that hook hard just to make sure those hooks go in there pretty deep. And that can be quite a challenge from a kayak. It's a fun challenge, but it can be difficult at times, especially with just a weird angle you've got going on here. I just got stuck on a log and I hit another one right here. This place is loaded down with submerged timber, which is like super cool, and makes it a lot of fun to fish out here because there's just a lot of structure. But it can be a little dangerous at times, because if you're not paying attention, you can hit a log and I don't want to say tip. I haven't tipped yet. Fingers crossed I don't. But it does make it for a little bit of an obstacle course out here. It's definitely a little weird. It's definitely a little weird kayaking basically through what looks like grass. I mean, this is like just solid green mat of moss. It's kind of a tongue twister. Moss is really bad right there. Actually, everywhere over there, if you can see it. Makes for good frog fishing though. Just a little crazy, honestly. There we go. Bunch of fish shooting out of there. I never really understood this place because the water is crystal clear. Just everywhere. I mean, there's moss everywhere. Usually it's like dirty water gets some moss or something, but this is like beautiful clear water. Oh wow, he's bleeding a little bit. I don't know what happened there. Quick little showing, and then we're gonna get him back in the water. I didn't hook his gills, so I don't know why he's got blood on him. Nowhere near deep enough for a gill hook. Ah, he popped off. I definitely should have set the hook way harder on that. It's kind of at a weird angle. That is 1000% my own fault. There we go. Ah, he come off. That's all right. I think we're gonna end with that one. Definitely not the outcome I was hoping for, but. Well, yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. It was a lot of fun to come out here and make it. The frog fishing did not disappoint. It was incredible. Also, like, if you come out here when it's low wind, it's kind of a game changer. It's actually somewhat enjoyable. The moss today is ridiculous. It always is. I knew what I was getting into when I said I was going to come here, but that's okay. The frog fishing made up for it. I'm shocked at how many I caught, honestly. Last time I was here was really, really tough fishing, but this time they're just cooperating. So I went in some really, really shallow parts of this lake here. I'm on the main lake right now, but there's some cuts back in the corners where it's really, really shallow, like 1 foot at the most, and it doesn't seem to have any fish in it. And I'm assuming that the moss has just completely choked everything out, where at least when it's a little deeper like it is here, these fish can at least get a little bit of oxygen in the water, and they just like it better, I suppose. It's probably even hotter in the shallows. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you've never tried it, get out and try some frog fishing. You never know. Some spots, like I said, can be really, really fire for frogs, and others not so much. And if the frogs are working, I bet they're really, really working. Like, so just keep throwing and keep throwing. Top water strikes is where it's at. So hope you guys enjoyed and learned a little bit. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a big thumbs up, and we will catch you on the next episode. Peace, y'all.